Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk Media Network. Gorgeous Thursday afternoon here in the Palmetto State. We're coming to you from what I think is one of the great spots in South Carolina. James Smith Realty, Jimmy Smith. We're sitting upstairs in his beautiful office. We are in the historical section of his office, surrounded by unbelievable memorabilia of all kinds. Gamecocks, Tigers, professional, college, footballs, basketballs, helmets, you name it, he's got it. He has had a lifetime of sports memorabilia collecting going on. He's put it all together here up in his office. I imagine when you come by to visit with Jimmy to set up your plans for a summer vacation, or maybe you're down for a weekend, maybe it's a week, he'll show it to you. Just say, Jimmy, show me your stuff. He'll bring you up here and let you look at it, and you'll be amazed by what he's got. It's a great, great memorabilia collection. But we are just very proud to be here with one of our partners on Sports Talk. Last night we were over at Florence Darlington Tech with the president, Ed Buffet. We were over there at the Southeastern Institute of Manufacturing and Technology, and what a great organization that is, and great partner of Sports Talk. And now we're over here with Jimmy Smith, another one of our great partners who's been with us from the get-go, and we appreciate him very much. In fact, those of you watching our video stream, if you're watching, there's Jimmy right there. You can see Jimmy. In the background, you can see some of the memorabilia stuff that he's got, and it's all over the place up here. So when you come to Paulie's, stop by James Smith Realty. You can't miss it. It's a big old building on the edge of town, right between Litchfield and Paulie's. It's actually like maybe a half mile from Litchfield, but right on the border with Paulie's Island. Okay, glad to be here. We'll talk more about James Smith Realty coming up in a little bit. We got a lot of ground to cover. Chris Bergen and Pat Daniel are with us. Chris is at his Regal Estate over in the PD, and Pat is in our studios back in Columbia. Phone number 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery. Lucky number here on Sports Talk. If you want to join us tonight, a lot of baseball for you tonight. We're going to hear from USC coach Mark Kingston. He did a segment with the media earlier today before they flew out to Ole Miss. And live at 7:05, Clemson coach Monty Lee. Both coaches have really big assignments this weekend. The Gamecocks going down to Ole Miss and the Tigers hosting Louisville. Also tonight, amongst everything else, recruiting and updating news notes and things like that. You might recall a couple of weeks ago, we brought you the story of the scholarship endowment effort being taken over at South Carolina in the name of a young man who passed away a couple of years ago. His father has gotten involved with all of this in trying to create this scholarship endowment for walk-on players for South Carolina football. Stephen Panis is the gentleman who is behind all this. We had him on the show a couple of weeks ago. He is part of his business is in the horse racing industry, and a good friend of his is a trainer of a horse in the Kentucky Derby. His name is Doug O'Neill, and Doug, of course, is lending his efforts to this as well. In fact, part of what they're doing is the horse that he has entered in the Derby on Saturday, the blanket that will cover the horse's, shall we say, backside, will feature the Gamecock logo on there. So he's doing what he can to help promote this. He's going to join us at 7:30. Chris, I don't know about you. I don't know a damn thing about horse racing. I watch it 3 times a year, as I think most of us who aren't into horse racing do. We watch it 3 times a year during the Triple Crown races, and especially if we come up to the Belmont in a normal year with a chance for a Triple Crown winner. But otherwise, what do you ask a trainer, a couple of days before the Derby? How's the horse feeling? How's he? What are you feeding him? What do you ask?
That's a great question because I'm an avid racing fan. I've long believed what Jim Rome from CBS Sports used to say many, many years ago, that horse racing is a bet. a little bit because he's actually an owner of a horse racing team. But yeah, I'm like you. Outside of the Kentucky Derby and the Belmont and the Preakness, there's not a whole lot that I can bring to the table. But I will be curious to hear about the connection with South Carolina. Also, isn't it nice to see things starting to return to normal in sports? We had the Masters in April, the Final Four wrapped up first weekend in April, and now the first Saturday in May is back to the Kentucky Derby. And it snuck up on me when I realized we were having Doug O'Neill on the program tonight. I did not realize, but Saturday is the first Saturday in May. It's May 1st, so this Derby time.
It really is the first Saturday in May. It's the first day in May, so they're not messing around. They're getting right into it. Oh, and of course, we would be remiss if we didn't mention that thing called the NFL Draft is tonight. That thing that has been dissected, evaluated, constipated since the end of the NFL season. I mean, it's like an entire industry in and of itself beyond the actual football season. And I get it. I mean, it's important how it's important the players that your team acquires during the draft or via trade or whatever the case may be. So I'm not belittling or putting down the draft. But the over-analysis of all of this it'll drive you insane, I think, if you're deeply into it. But it's really no different than the recruiting world. You got people out there who are over the top in analyzing recruits to death as well. So it's finally here, Chris. It's going to happen tonight. Trevor Lawrence is going to become Clemson's first ever number one pick in the NFL draft. He might have a new tight end to throw to, Tim Tebow. And reports are he's met with the Jaguars, and they're talking about signing him as a tight end. Now, how interesting would it be that a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback in Tim Tebow might be catching passes from a quarterback who should have won the Heisman Trophy in one of his seasons? You could say, you could make the argument that he should have won a Heisman in one of those seasons. That would be an interesting twist of fate, I would say.
Well, and our listeners don't know this. I was privy to this, as was most media here in South Carolina. But earlier today, commented very own Phil Kornblut, because there's a story out this afternoon that Aaron Rodgers is so disgruntled with the Green Bay Packers that he does not want to return to the team. Phil, I will let you tell our listeners exactly what you told everybody else on the Mark Kingston press conference. If Aaron Rodgers is back on Green Bay, what are you planning to do?
Cut off my right arm. Cut it off and hang it outside. That ain't happening. There's no way, Jose. I mean, San Francisco apparently inquired. They offered picks. They offered Garoppolo. They ain't got enough to offer. You don't trade your ticket to the Super Bowl if you have a chance to go to the Super Bowl. You don't trade your ticket. And if he's disgruntled, then he certainly has changed his attitude in the last little while, because since the season's been over, he seems to have been very pleased with the way things have gone with the Packers. He's gotten engaged. He's become the host of Jeopardy for a while.
Well, that's what I ask you for. How legitimate is his post-NFL career coming upon him? Is he consider maybe not even playing, not necessarily going to another team like San Francisco or even the Los Angeles Rams, who inquired about him back in January before they made the move for Matthew Stafford? Is Aaron Rodgers to a point? He's played enough football. He's won a Super Bowl. He's a Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about this. Has he done everything he can in his athletics career? Is he interested maybe in making Jeopardy a possibility as his full-time career moving forward?
I think he realizes that if he truly wants to go down as one of the great quarterbacks of all time, he needs to win another Super Bowl.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, look, you've got his Hall of Fame ticket has been stamped because he has won a Super Bowl, and he's got all these records, and he can still pile up the numbers. But, look, he doesn't want to be thought of as an Eli Manning. Okay, Eli Manning, excellent career with the Giants. He won 2 Super Bowls. Is he a Hall of Fame quarterback? I think everybody agrees Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Fame quarterback, but he's only got 1 ring. Brett Favre only had 1 ring. I think that haunted Brett Favre to some degree, that he only got 1 ring with Green Bay. They had a chance to go back-to-back. They couldn't get it done. So I think he's driven. What he wants to see from the Packers tonight is draft a quality receiver. One mock I saw last night had them drafting the outstanding receiver from Ole Miss, and I would sign off on that as a Packer fan. Give him more weapons. The running back situation's in great shape. I'm not happy we lost our center, a long-time center. We got to, replace him. But the offensive line, generally speaking, is in good shape. Receivers have come on, but they need more. They need some speed. They need some speed in the slot. Randall Cobb type of receiver there. So we shall see what happens. We shall see what happens. But what are the Panthers going to do? Now, I saw a mock last night at number 9. They're going to take the big offensive lineman out of Oregon, which would be a smart selection for them.
This is exactly what the Panthers ought to do. They've got to get some help on that offensive line. If indeed Sam Bradford is not Sam Bradford. Darnold, thank you. Sam Darnold is your quarterback moving forward.
So you got your shot. You got your shot the other day, and now you're suffering from COVID shot fog, brain fog. That's what you got. I've been there. I know what you're talking about.
I'm trying to root Sam Darnold out of my as a Panthers fan anyway. I'm not overly impressed with him bringing him in, but it is what it is, as the old saying goes. But they've got to get him some help along the offensive line. I don't care who they have at quarterback. They've got to get some help. And if Christian McCaffrey is going to be able to run the ball and be as successful as he was 2 seasons ago, they've got to have some help along that offensive line. So I think that would be a smart move. They don't need to draft a quarterback. They need to spend some capital here over the next couple of days on the offensive side of the football, but I think it starts up front. They've got to get some help along that offensive line.
Corn, our phone number.
Sorry,
go
Corn,
ahead.
If I may, just wanted to add a couple quick notes here. It is worth pointing out, yes, they need help absolutely on the offensive line. Personally, hoping they go for Penny Sewell out of Oregon, but that's neither here nor there. It's worth pointing out, though, Sam Darnold, again, I realize his troubles he's had with the Jets, but I've heard, Chris, a couple times now you point out he doesn't have necessarily that many weapons. In a poll taken last year of all NFL coaches across the league, they ranked the Panthers as having the 4th best offensive weapons in the league for the next 5 years. So I would push back against that a little bit. The Panthers are loaded on offense at their skill position. They just simply need to shore up that offensive line so as to protect Sam Darnold.
Well, and I'll follow up on that. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but are they also factoring in a healthy Christian McCaffrey as part of their weapons on offense? Absolutely. If that's the case, I would agree. But McCaffrey played, 3-4 games this past fall? And the life of an NFL running back is so limited. I don't know what to get from him. Hopefully he returns to his, 18, 19 form and gets back to a potential NFL MVP type year. And if he does, I would agree with you. Then there is enough around Sam Darnold to move that offense if they get some help up front. But, and that's a big but, what is the health of Christian McCaffrey coming back into this upcoming season? That, to me, is a huge question mark for the Panthers. But regardless of who they've got running the football and or catching it, if they can't protect Sam Darnold, it's not going to matter.
All right, the phone number is 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number here on Sports Talk. Did you know that since 2002, more than 2.1 million lottery-funded scholarships, such as Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellows scholarships, have been awarded to South Carolina students? You can learn more about the South Carolina Education Lottery's impact at seeducationlottery.com/education. Wins and playing for fun is a win for education. Got a busy show coming your way here on Sports Talk. Going to dive deeply into it after the break. Also, my interview with Chris Buescher, the NASCAR Cup Series driver, who will be racing at Darlington. That's coming up not this weekend, Kansas this weekend. We dive deeply into Darlington next week. Looking forward to that. We'll be back, update some news notes, some baseball scores, talk about the South Carolina and Clemson baseball series coming up here on Sports Talk.
The Southeastern Institute of Manufacturing and Technology at Florence Darlington Technical College specializes in sophisticated manufacturing services and workforce development training. The SIMT offers rapid prototyping, additive manufacturing, advanced machining, and business incubation services to clients from across the state and nation, plus social media listening services and rentals of conferencing and training spaces. The SIMT also houses an 800-seat auditorium, a conference center that can seat more than 1,200 for dinner or a luncheon, and numerous classroom spaces with state-of-the-art presentation technologies. Visit our website at simt.com or call 866-304-7468 for more information. The SIMT, technology to grow your business.
Sonia really wants $5 on a scratch-up. I'm confused. Into a family reunion? Not if I know. That's family house every year. I've always said I can't afford to go.
I am so sorry.
I'm assigned a sleeping bag on the porch with cousins I've never met.
Been there. Even got the T-shirt.
You may be cousin Tina.
No. That it for the South Carolina Education Lottery. Tell your story at tellyourtinystory.com.
The lady doesn't age, she just gets tougher. And throwback weekend is when she likes to remind all the friends, families, drivers, and dreamers just how they got here. Business up front and parties in the back. Over 70 years of history held together with one famous black stripe. Too tough to tame? I guess you'll have to find out. Darlington Throwback Weekend, May 7th through 9th. Get your tickets at darlingtonraceway.com.
South Carolina, just right.
Stay tuned. More Sports Talk is coming up on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Founders is offering a low-rate mortgage with up to $4,000 in closing costs to full-time hospital employees, honoring your frontline efforts against COVID-19. With no PMI, no origination fee, and no limit on the loan amount, you can't go wrong. Visit founders.com/HEC and apply for your hospital employee choice mortgage today. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply. Institution NMLS identifier number 410646. Founders is an equal housing lender and is federally insured by the NCUA.
Looking for the perfect golf retreat? Championship courses at an affordable rate? Look at Clarkson and Restaurant in Santee, South Carolina, located minutes from 3 championship courses. Clarkson offers customized, affordable golf packages, relaxing rooms, and great food. Visit clarksonandrestaurant.com to plan your golf retreat. clarksonandrestaurant.com, easy to find, hard to leave.
Hi, this is Phil Kornblut of Sports Talk here with Major Leonard, Natural Resources. What words of wisdom do you have for those hitting the water this summer?
Phil, collisions can be prevented easily if every vessel operator fulfills 3 major responsibilities. 1, practice good seamanship. It's the responsibility of every boat or PWC operator to take all action for a collision. 2, keep a proper lookout. Found a lookout is a common cause of boating collisions. And finally, maintain a safe speed. Remember, boat safe, boat smart.
The future of golf is waiting for you at the Players Club. Rain, shine, or after dark, you can enjoy the game of golf anytime at Columbia's Indoor Country Club. The Players Club delivers the most realistic golf experience and offers more than 90 championship courses. Play or practice with the same state-of-the-art full-swing simulators used by Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth. Visit maincoursesc.com to book a bay and become a player today at the Players Club, part of the Main Course, 1626 Main Street in Columbia.
We are back on Sports Talk. We are at James Smith Realty here in Pawleys Island, Litchfield. Let me remind you, as you look ahead to your summer plans, you want to come down to the beach. Of course, who doesn't want to come down to the beach? You give Jimmy Smith a call. He'll take care of everything that you need. 843-237-4246, 843-237-4246, or PawleysVacationRentals.com. They can set you up anywhere in this part of South Carolina along the coast, Pawleys Island, Litchfield, over into Garden City. You want to buy some property? You want to make this a permanent stop? He can do that as well. He's got a great staff, and they spend all day putting together great deals and making sure that their customers get what they are looking for, buying and selling, as the case may be. But from a rental standpoint, you want a house, you want a condo for a few days, a week, a weekend, a month, you give Jimmy a call. I know Chris Bergen has done just that. He has booked his stay through James Smith Realty. 843-237-4246, PawleysVacationRentals.com. Make sure you make that call before you head down to the coast. Okay, a few of the major notes of the day. And Clemson is increasing attendance for its home baseball games. They made that announcement today after evaluating everything with their doctors and considering the vaccinations that are taking place and just everything else. They have decided to allow more fans in the Duck Kingsmore starting this weekend. 2,119 fans. That's 34% of the regular capacity. That's an increase from the 1,556 seats that are available during the Wake Forest series, and they opened the season with 1,280. So they are continuing to move on up. Who knows, by the time South Carolina rolls in there on, May the 10th, they might let everybody in there. Who knows? And we'll see if South Carolina follows suit. Now, the Gamecocks have, of course, recently increased their capacity at Founders Park as well. So Clemson makes that move. Speaking of the Gamecocks, Mark Kingston, who you'll hear from a little bit, said today that his rotation this weekend will be the same, that catcher Colin Burgess is day-to-day being reevaluated. He was kind of banged up from that Arkansas series, and so he didn't catch the midweek game. He's hopeful he can catch this weekend. If not, it'll be Wes Clark behind the plate. And Josiah Seitler is still dealing with a growing injury that might force him to be the DH if Clark is behind the plate. Seitler would DH, and that would put Myers out in left field. Noah Myers, who hit the grand slam the other night, he would be out in left field. I tell you what, Chris, this pitching staff that South Carolina is going to be facing against Ole Miss, Kingston said the Friday starter, Gunnar Hoagland, a junior right-hander, is a first-rounder. Doug Nikhazy, a junior left-hander, is a USA national player, national baseball team player. And their number 3 guy, Drew McDaniel, he's sort of that typical number 3 guy. He starts some, he comes out of the pen, but he is 4-0. The thing about Hoagland and Nikhazy is teams are batting like 160, 170 against those two guys. Really, really hard to hit, a lot of strikeouts and few walks. And the Gamecocks have been slumping at the plate. They've got to find their offense. Tough place to go against this pitching to find your offense.
Well, here you pointed out 3 outstanding pitchers, especially the first 2. And Gunnar Hoagland has been felt like one of the aces of the SEC with a 2.73 ERA. But the funny thing is, Phil, as you pointed out, the best ERA of their rotation. He's under 2 going into the weekend at 4-2 on the season. But you're right. If South Carolina's bats don't heat up, especially on Friday, I'm not sure it matters. Gamecocks coming in 2 miss over 300 as a team. You factor that in with the pitching staff they've got. Part of the reason they are ranked as highly as they are. This would not be an easy weekend for South Carolina, but opportunity for the Gamecocks, much like this past weekend was against Arkansas. They could find a way to pick up 2 wins here this weekend. I think that puts them in prime position going into that Mississippi State series to perhaps clinch, but certainly put themselves in great shape to host a regional here in a couple of weeks.
Well, this is an Ole Miss team which has been backpedaling after a great start. They are 8-8 in their last 16 games overall. They opened SEC play 6-0, and since then it has not gone well for them. 4-8 in SEC play. They nearly were swept by LSU last weekend. They had to rally to win Game 3 to salvage one game there. They're 28-12, 10-8 in the SEC. South Carolina's 25-12, 11-7. And Ole Miss, back in February was ranked number 1. Gamecocks are now ranked higher in D1 baseball. They're 13 and Ole Miss is 19. Gamecocks are going for a 3rd straight SEC road series win. They haven't won 3 straight road series since 2012. And they haven't won 3 straight road series in a season since 2013. So they've got some things to play for as well. But this is a tough place to win. The fans are crazy. The beer showers after they hit home runs. And Ole Miss can swing the bats now. Their team batting average is over 300. Mm-hmm. Almost their entire starting lineup, every batter is hitting 300 or better. And South Carolina is like in the 260 category. So Gamecock pitching, Thomas Farr has not won an SEC outing this season, but he needs some offensive help. All right, we'll hear from Mark Kingston coming up. We'll talk about Clemson, Louisville, too. Back in a moment here on Sports Talk.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight. Overnight, cloudy skies. Tomorrow, a mix of sunshine and clouds for you with a high temperature. Weekend, we see a high of 79. While on Sunday, we're up to 85 with clouds. I'm Kevin Cohen with your On Point local weather.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives and restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You'll be happy you did. And just maybe someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters. Congress has voted to temporarily extend a sweeping tool that has helped federal agents crack down on drugs chemically similar to fentanyl. The Senate voted Thursday to pass a bill extending until October an order that allows the federal government to classify so-called fentanyl analogs as Schedule I controlled substances. The drugs are generally foreign-made with a very close chemical makeup to the dangerous opioid. The authority was set to expire next week, and there were concerns in letting the authorization lapse that could have led to a surge in opioid deaths. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 239 points to 34,060. The Nasdaq rose 31 to 14,082. The S&P 500 advancing 28 to 42.11. Oil up $1.15 to 65.01 a barrel. This is SRN News.
One thing you hear on The Point all day long, it's be intentional. You hear it from our local and national hosts, and I practically preach. When it comes to my biggest financial investment, my home, well, I'm pretty intentional. I had Allstate Seamless Gutter come out, and they fixed me up. Think about this. You spend between, $800, $1,500 on gutters for your house? That's an intentional investment. It protects your house against things that can cost thousands and thousands of dollars later on, like mold damage or foundation repairs. And while we're talking about being intentional, when Doug and his team came out, did the job on my home, well, we partnered up to help save you some money. If you call 833-5-GUTTER, tell them you want that point discount, that's 40% off your gutters. Make an intentional decision about your home. Protect your biggest financial investment. They do great work. And you know, I won't endorse Allstate Seamless Gutter if I didn't have them come out and do the work on my own piece of mind. Gutters at a great price. That's intentional. Seamless Gutter. 833-5-GUTTER. 835-GUTTER.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
There is now Columbia Place Mall on for South Carolina. Transportation assistance will be provided by the Common. No appointments needed. Walk-ins welcome. For more information, call 1-866-365-8110. That's 1-866-365-8110.
Have you fallen behind facing IRS penalties? Have wage garnishments, levies, have tax returns? You want someone local and qualified. Don't fall for those national spots. Meet with me, Teresa, and let me help you through your tax maze. I can help all your tax issues. There are options to get you back on track. Call Professional Services, 400-8683. That's 863.
Uiagalelei goes shotgun, losing into his left-hand side. And they're going to play action, looking into the end zone. Touchdown, Davis Allen.
Hey, Tiger fans, it's time to reserve your 2021 Clemson football season tickets and come back home to Clemson. For details and more information, please visit ClemsonTigers.com/football tickets. The season ticket request deadline is April 30th, so be sure and act soon and see your Tigers in the Valley this fall. come back home to Clemson.
Okay, we are back with you on Sports Talk. Phil Kornblut tonight from down along the coast at James Smith Realty. Great to be here. I'll be off tomorrow night. Tomorrow, I'll be doing what I was put on this earth to do. No, you might really. When you were put on this earth to run your mouth and do sports talk and recruiting, no, sir. I was put on this planet to play golf. That will be what I'll be doing tomorrow. We'll be turning things over in the capable hands of Chris Bergen and Pat Daniel, and the return of Smitty, Matt Smith, to Sports Talk tomorrow night, Bergie. You and Smitty and Pat getting it done.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm not sure I'm quite ready to fly solo with Sports Talk, so I brought in some capable co-hosts, and we're going to have some fun while Daddy's away. The mice shall play, so we're going to have but obviously be looking back at the draft tonight and hopefully have a little high school football we can delve into and several other things. Of course, our typical Friday lineup. We'll talk some NASCAR and some golf as well, so it should be a lot of fun tomorrow.
And next week, right now, tentative, and it looks pretty solid on Wednesday night, probably at 6:30, Gamecock basketball coach Frank Martin is going to join us. So look forward to having him with us next week. That should be a lot of fun. Let's go to Sam in Charleston. Oh, we lost Sam. Okay, Sam. Well, sorry, my man. Tried to get to you, and you left us hanging. So the break, taking on the Cubs after getting a big win last night. And tonight it'll be Bryce Wilson, 1-1 with a 5 ERA against Adbert Alzolay, 0-2, 5.40 ERA for the Cubs. And Braves playing some pretty good baseball now. They're starting to get things together. Hit some home runs last night. Starting to win some ball games. Today, the White Sox leading the Tigers 3-1, top of the sixth. That's the first of a doubleheader. Seattle beat Houston 1-0. And I'm sorry to report that in 10, Baltimore edged the Yankees 4-3. Still can't hit. Oakland beat Tampa Bay 3-2, and St. Louis beat Philadelphia 4-3 this afternoon in Major League Baseball. Got a couple of SEC games on tap for tonight in college baseball. Auburn at Georgia and Kentucky at Tennessee. Now, South Carolina is on its way, probably there now. They flew commercial to down to Ole Miss. I guess they went to Memphis and then probably drove down to Ole Miss. That would be my guess. To take on the Rebels of Ole Miss. Big opportunity here for South Carolina to get a road series win. I mean, even though offensively they've been scuffling a bit and they're facing some great pitching, this is an Ole Miss team that's had its own issues here of late. As I've mentioned, they've lost 4 straight SEC series. But they are playing at home, and they're probably going to have a packed house there. They're letting everybody in at Ole Miss, I believe. And so the Gamecocks going to have to deal with that. Today, the road and hit the air. Mark Kingston met with the media, take questions about this matchup with Ole Miss.
Kind of the standard question is your pitching rotation still the same, and how?
Yeah, we'll stay the same. Kyle Burgess will continue to be evaluated, and we're hopeful that he'll be able to play this weekend. But he's kind of day to day right now.
Mark, you made some changes, obviously, to the lineup on Tuesday. What do you think you got out of that lineup, especially with Eister hitting that 2-hole?
Well, as Dave mentioned, Burgess was not able to play on Tuesday, and so that's what made us look at the lineup a little bit. Obviously, with Noah Myers going in there, I thought he gave us a really nice spark with the grand slam, played good defense out there, and took good at-bats for most of the night. So I think if Burgess is not able to play, then he's the next man up there, and allows us to bring Seidler to DH and help him with a little bit of a groin injury he's nursing, and gives us a little bit more speed out there in the outfield. So I thought Noah did a nice job the other night, and but we'll also continue to remain hopeful that Burgess is able to go because he's a very important piece of the puzzle.
What does Colin have going on with him, and will he definitely be on the plane tomorrow or today?
Yeah, he'll be on the plane tomorrow. Again, I don't want to get too deep into it. I probably want to talk to our trainers and make sure what I am allowed to say and not say. But he's day to day. Nothing that should keep him out for an extended period of time. But again, we're hopeful that he'll be a big part of this weekend.
What's been the key for Wes coming along in terms of his ability behind the plate? What's so much better about him behind the plate year over year in his growth?
Yeah, just everything, John. I mean, he's worked very hard. Coach Lake has worked very hard with him to just try to get him to be the kind of catcher he's become. His throwing now is at a very good level. It's pro average now throwing. He blocks the ball well. I think pitchers have a lot of confidence that if they have to block a ball or throw a ball in the dirt, he will block it. And his receiving has come a long way. I mean, to me, you think about where he was 2 years ago. I think it was against Gardner-Webb on a Tuesday night. It was an absolute disaster. And to think about that night to where he is now, it's very, very impressive. It's just a testament to his work ethic, to his willpower, and to the work that him and Coach Lake have really put in on a daily basis.
You talked about the offense after the Arkansas game, wanting to be a little bit more consistent. What tweaks did you want to see from the offense this week and practicing on Tuesday? And do you feel like you've made some strides coming off that series?
Yeah, we've had a couple days to get after it offensively, and it just has to get better. We know it has to get better. It has to get better with a lot of individual guys, and it has to get better as a group, and I think it will. We got after it pretty good this week offensively in our practices, and so I'm hoping that it pays off for these guys. Get Clark going, get guys going that we know when we're at the top of our game, where we are very competitive with anybody in the country offensively. Our pitching has been pretty darn consistent the whole year, and so if we get our offense performing at its peak level, then again, I think we've got a really good team.
And what have you seen from Ole Miss so far through scouting report? Obviously, a group that's had a pretty good offensive showing once league play began.
Yeah, obviously they start with their pitching. They've got a first rounder on Friday night. They've got a Team USA guy on Saturday and a very talented guy on Sunday as well. So, you combine that with they're built for their ballpark. It's a very offensive ballpark, especially when the wind blows out. And so they've hit a lot of homers, and they're a very dangerous offense. So, their pitching, their high-end pitching, and then their explosive offense, again, makes it a great challenge. It's why they were also ranked number one at one point during the season this year. So, as I say every weekend, we need to be on top of our game to compete.
Mark, kind of following up on that, Ole Miss has been kind of scuffling a little in recent weeks, although I think they got the Sunday game against LSU. Just how tough of a challenge is to go in saying, like, well, you don't want them to get better this weekend.
Well, I mean, again, that's stuff for fans and media to talk about. We just go in trying to take care of business. We have to be on top of our game. We have to play fundamental baseball. We have to be, on the mound. We've got to be attacking and throwing strikes and getting ahead. All the things that we've said for a million press conferences that every coach says at every press conference. You just have to go in there and play good baseball. All that other stuff is just kind of, it's just stuff we all talk about. But when you get on the field, it's your team against their team.
I know you look game by game and not series by series, but since they were number one, they've dropped 4 straight SEC series. Do you think they'll have a little more urgency to come out and play really well considering that fact? And do you see anything different about them now than you did early on?
Well, I would probably answer that, the same way I answer when, people ask me after if we lose on a Friday, are we going to have more sense of urgency on a Saturday? In this league, every player, every coach has a sense of urgency every time they get on the field. I know Mike Bianco always has his team motivated. I know he always has his team with a sense of urgency. So, at the end of the day, it's just who's going to play better baseball, who's going to pitch better, who's going to hit better. And it's a very dangerous team. We have a great amount of respect for them. So we'll play the game at a high level and hope that the ball bounces our way.
For teams like yours that are in strong contention for hosting regionals and with those sites being picked earlier this year than normal, is the pressure on earlier as you go through these series heading up to the date when they're making an announcement for all the teams that are in the hunt for host regionals?
Well, again, pressure is all what you make out of pressure. Pressure is about context, and I don't know if you guys are aware they updated it recently that they're going to announce 20 sites, I think it is now, instead of just 16. So they're going to announce a pool of 20 teams that will be then narrowed down to 16 as we get closer to the selection show. So pressure? No, it's not pressure. I feel like I get this question a lot around here. It's not pressure. It's an opportunity. It's a chance to play baseball. It's moving in the right direction. It's all those things. It's not pressure. We're playing baseball. We're trying to be the best team in the country. We're trying to help guys move on in their careers and have great success and do all those things. So none of that is pressure. If you make it pressure, then you don't have success. So we're going to continue to focus on what a great opportunity we have every time we take the field.
All right, Mark Kingston from earlier today, the Gamecocks and Ole Miss this weekend in Oxford, and South Carolina will be trying to bounce back from its series loss to Arkansas, but they are just in the middle of that grind in the SEC. The schedule for the weekend, the Friday night game, will be 7:30 Eastern time, and that game will be on the SEC Network stream, Network Plus. That's on Friday night. Then Saturday, it's a 7 o'clock first pitch. That game will be on the SEC Network. And then Sunday, it's going to be a 12:30 first pitch. And there will be a time limit on that game. I think no inning can start after 4:30 because of USC's travel plans. So keep that in mind if that game drags on. And that game will be on SEC Network Plus. But the Gamecocks are in that stretch where they played Arkansas #1. They're playing Ole Miss, former #1, now number 19. And then their next series will be at home against Mississippi State, which is in the top 5. So they're in that really tight stretch where winning games are not easy in this case. But if you want to get a good seed for the SEC tournament, if you want to be one of those 20 teams and then one of those 16 teams that gets a host regional, Chris, you gotta win a couple more of these series. Win this one at Ole Miss, and then win the series against Mississippi State at home the next weekend. The NCAA's bids come out on the 10th, I think it is. I think that that'll put them in. I think if they can win these two series, I think that pretty much would lock it up for them as far as a host regional site.
No question. For a national as well, for provincial sometimes with the Gamecocks and Tigers, we don't always look at the other side of the coin. Here's what Ole Miss has gone through the last couple of weeks. Florida, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and LSU. Mm-hmm. So you can make the same argument that the Rebels are going through a similar grind that South Carolina is going through right now. And it brings up an interesting point that Pat and I were debating during the commercial break a couple of moments ago. As you look at how deep SEC baseball is right now, and with all the teams ranked inside the top 10, top 20, and what have you, where is the Southeastern Conference in terms of its better product? Is it a better football league, or is it now a better, at least this year, is it a better baseball league?
Well, it depends on how you define better. Is better having the same team win the championship every year and then play for the national championship every year like in football? Mm-hmm. Or is better having a greater depth of quality teams where any 7 or 8 teams could win the SEC championship this year, go to Omaha, and make a run for the national championship? Really, when you look at it this year around the SEC, there are 7 or 8 legitimate teams that could be standing last in Omaha when it's all said and done. I mean, let's just look at them. You've got, and there'll be some that I'll leave out here that aren't bad baseball teams, but you've got Arkansas, you've got Florida, you've got South Carolina, of course. I'd throw Georgia in there because they're 500 in the league. They've got 26 wins. You got Ole Miss. What's that? That's 5. You got Mississippi State is 6. You got Tennessee is 7. You got Vanderbilt. That's 8. That's 8. And you could probably throw a team that's right on the border there of being really good. They're 8 deep, I think, in what you would consider Omaha contending, national championship contending type of teams, I would say.
Mike Morgan mentioned this, I guess, 2 weeks ago when we had him on the program, and we were asking about not just South Carolina, but the quality of teams in the SEC. And he says, and for a guy that has covered this league for as long as he has, He said there have been years in which the Southeastern Conference may get 9 or 10 teams into the NCAA tournament, but the quality of teams aren't as good back then as they are this year. And I don't think there's any doubt. If you just sized up the two, you said what makes the league better? I think it's quality depth. And there's no doubt that SEC baseball, from that definition alone, is infinitely better than SEC football, at least this year. Now, it could all change, but you're right. Alabama every year doesn't necessarily mean that the SEC is as strong in football as just having one team that always wins the national championship or certainly at least plays for it. But you're right. I mean, there are 8 quality, maybe 9 teams that if they won the national championship out of that group you just mentioned, would you be surprised if any of them won the national title?
Well, when you go back to football, how many really, really good SEC football teams were there last season? When you break it down, it was Alabama in the West, all right, because who else was good in the West that you could consider to be a national championship contender? Not LSU, not Arkansas, not Mississippi State. Ole Miss was an exciting team, and they won some games and put a lot of points on the board, but they weren't contenders for anything. Not Auburn, really. Texas A&M, yes. Maybe. Yeah, Texas A&M. Alabama, Texas A&M. And then in the East, Georgia let a couple of games get away while they dilly-dallied with their quarterbacks. They shot themselves in the head last year. Why Daniels, maybe it was the knee, maybe it was something else. Why he wasn't the starter earlier, I think it cost them a couple of wins. So you scratch them for just being stupid. And then you got Florida and who else? So really,
that's it at least.
Yeah, so you'd say, out of a 14-team league, as much as we yell and scream and stomp our feet about the greatness of SEC football, they really only had what I would consider 3 really strong teams last year. And then
that league's best and most competitive sports, without a doubt, is baseball.
Yeah, the basketball's getting better.
True.
The basketball's getting better. And the women's basketball is, they've got what?
But I think you can still make that same argument. Maybe they're a little bit better in terms of competitive nature, but you bring up Florida and Georgia and Texas A&M on the football side. You could probably make that similar argument, though, that, the SEC on the women's side in terms of basketball might be depth-wise pretty decent, but it's always the same team that ends up winning the league, and that's South Carolina. They have separated themselves much the way Alabama has in football, much the way Clemson has in football from the ACC's perspective. I don't think you can, when all is said and done and we end up in Hoover for the SEC tournament, I could put 8 teams, maybe 9 in a hat, pull one of them out. And I don't think, Phil, if I said, oh gosh, Ole Miss is going to win the SEC tournament this year, I don't think you could give me a quality argument as to why they can't. Mm-hmm. South Carolina is going to win the SEC tournament. Same thing. Vanderbilt, with all their pitching, makes perfect sense. Arkansas, with the way they can score runs, makes perfect sense, especially in a ballpark the size of Hoover. I don't know that you can do that right now in very many other sports inside the Southeastern Conference the way you can with baseball.
Yeah, you're talking about the SEC baseball tournament. Would anybody be surprised if, say, LSU made a run in the tournament with, with their talent and their history? And also part of that, too, is how are the teams that already know they're in the NCAA tournament, how are they going to approach the SEC tournament? Are they going to run out their best arms, or do they want to rest them for the NCAAs? I know Ray Tanner's approach was always to win the next day. He didn't care how good his team was and the fact that they were locked in. He was all about winning the next game and trying to win the SEC tournament. I'm sure Mark Kingston will be the same way about that. But some other teams might not feel that way, and that would open the door for a team that didn't have the greatest regular season to make a run in the SEC tournament.
And what has surprised you in as crazy a year as we've just gone through, as many struggles as the Gamecocks have had over the years in Hoover, if they ran through and won the tournament this year, it'd sort of be it sort of make perfect sense, wouldn't it? A team that has hated Hoover over the years to be able to go through and win it this year, it wouldn't surprise me in the least.
Yeah, they just, South Carolina's record in that tournament in Hoover, even really good Gamecock teams have struggled there. For as good as they've been over all the years, they've only won the tournament championship, one time, I believe?
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's once.
Yeah, but many times after coming up short, they've gone home, they've regrouped, They've gone to their regionals, they've won, and they've moved on to Omaha. So, okay, that's the Gamecocks. We'll hear from Monty Lee on the Clemson Tigers and Louisville coming up at 7:05. Let's give you the recruiting report for tonight here on Sports Talk. It's always brought to you by Seawells. And, of course, good folks at Seawells have their daily luncheon buffet. That's the one thing I miss when I'm out of town. Can't get over to Seawells to enjoy the daily luncheon buffet. A meat and three. If you choose, you can go straight veggie, have a big old salad. And, it's set up very safely. You still want to be cognizant of that, social distancing to some degree. A lot of space. People aren't right on top of you. It's a great, easygoing lunch buffet for you, 11 to 2, Monday through Friday at Seawells. And with the partying season now starting to come back in South Carolina, let's have a party, a birthday party, a wedding reception, a corporate outing, an awards banquet, business luncheon. You let Seawells handle all that hard work of setting up and presenting and cleaning up. Who wants to do all that? Seawells does. 803-771-7385 is the number. And for menu options online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. In recruiting tonight, strong side defensive end Quincy Wiggins, 6'7", 265, Baton Rouge. Says USC is one of his top 5 for his services. He's right now got a top 10 on the record, but he says really 7 or 8 schools have earned his attention. USC's in that group. He's kept in touch with defensive line coach Jimmy Lindsey since being offered in January. He likes him. He likes him. And Lindsey likes how he's long and athletic and very coachable. And he's had 2 virtual visits with USC. Plans to take an official to Columbia at some point during the season. He's got Southern Cal right now, June 4th, and Auburn, June 25th. And he said South Carolina is top 5, pretty good with him when talking about their chances of signing him. And he had named a top 10 in mid-March. USC, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Southern Cal, Baylor, Michigan, Auburn, Oregon, Mississippi State, and LSU. Since then, he's added offers from Florida and Texas. And, they could become factors down the road. He attended LSU and Florida State spring games, recently called LSU his favorite. Now, USC's waiting on the announcement tomorrow, 6 o'clock, and we will be all over that. Don't you worry. While the guys are on the air, we'll be monitoring the announcement by Braden Davis of Middletown, Delaware, the quarterback that South Carolina is after. But his teammate, defensive end Tomiwa Durajai, 6'5", 255, defensive end, did a virtual visit with USC yesterday, just 2 days after making a personal visit for the spring game. And he got to meet the whole staff. He said the nutritionists, the strength coaches, conditioning coaches, football coaches, academic support. And he said this visit really stood out to him. He feels very comfortable with the staff, gets a great vibe. And he said he got a much better feel for the defensive coaches. He had been on the phone with Jimmy Lindsey and Pete Limbo and Taylor Edwards, but this was the first time talking with Clayton White, Mike Peterson, and Torian Gray. And Shane Beamer wasn't in on the meeting, but he did record a video specifically for Durajay and for this meeting. And so he really liked that. He likes how the coaches and Beamer interact with one another. He says it's not like they work for Beamer, it's like they work with Beamer. While on the trip to USC, he also stopped at Duke, Georgia Tech, and Virginia. And after the USC spring game, he met up with his friends, Marshawn Lloyd and Debo Williams, for a few minutes. He has set official visits to Georgia Tech June 25th and Arkansas. Make that Georgia Tech June 4th and Arkansas June 25th. And he'll make another visit to USC. He's not sure if that will be official or unofficial. And he is undecided on his other visits from his other offers, Northwestern, Iowa, Maryland, West Virginia, and Michigan. Still trying to figure all that out. And 2023 South Florence quarterback Lenoris Sellers was offered by Virginia Tech. And Clemson offered 4-star corner Terrence Brooks of Plano, Texas, the number 10 cornerback nationally. USC offered safety Kai Stokes, 6'2", 185, out of Sefner, Florida. All right, top of the hour break, and we'll be back.
Before
We do what's supposed to happen here. Thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. A man charged with threatening Iowa's governor says he was exercising free speech.
An Iowa man charged with first-degree harassment for leaving a profane, menacing message on Governor Kim Reynolds' office phone line defended his comments Thursday as free speech. 48-year-old truck driver Harvey Hunter Jr. left the message on Reynolds' office phone line on January 5th. The line had been set up to gather input about the partial statewide mask mandate. According to a criminal complaint, Hunter called Reynolds, who's a Republican, a dictator, and said every single one of you need to be hung for treason for pushing this COVID scam. Hunter has pleaded not guilty. Trial is scheduled for June. I'm Mike Gracia.
South Carolina Republican Senator Tim Scott says things were getting better for African Americans under President Trump. Bob Agnew reports.
Senator Scott says opportunity was on the rise under the previous administration.
Wages were growing faster at the bottom than at the top.
Scott notes that with President Trump in office and Republicans in control of the Senate,
we passed opportunity zones, criminal justice reform, and permanent funding for historically black colleges and universities.
In his response to President Biden's address to Congress last night, Scott also defended the filibuster and called Georgia's new voter integrity law mainstream. Bob Agnew reporting.
Texas is edging closer to becoming the largest state in the country to allow people to carry handguns without a license. The push in the Republican-controlled legislature has cheered some Second Amendment supporters and alarmed some in El Paso, where a mass shooting in Walmart killed numerous people. A special committee hastily created by the state Senate is set to advance the measure today, and Republican Governor Greg Abbott says he supports the measure and will sign it into law if it gets to his desk. On Wall Street, the Dow by 239 points, the Nasdaq rose 31, the S&P 500 advanced 28. More on these stories at townhall.com.
It's totally normal to be constipated with belly pain, straining, and bloating again and again.
No way. You could have a chronic condition called irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. Linzess, or linaclotide, is a prescription that treats IBS-C in adults. Linzess works differently than laxatives to help relieve belly pain and let you have more frequent and complete bowel movements. Individual results may vary. Do not give to children less than 6, and it should not be given to children 6 to less than 18. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor today. You may be able to save on Linzess and make fewer trips to the pharmacy. See if you're eligible to pay as little as $30 for 90 days. Visit linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS. Sponsored by AbbVie and Ironwood Pharmaceuticals.
Pope Francis aims to cut down on corruption among Vatican managers. Correspondent Walter Ratliff reports.
Pope Francis has issued tough new anti-corruption regulations to ensure his own cardinals and managers are clean and honest. A new law requires them to periodically declare they are investing only in funds consistent with Catholic doctrine, and they're not under criminal investigation or stashing money in tax havens. The law also prohibits any Vatican employee from receiving work-related gifts with a value of over $48. It's aimed at cutting down on the sometimes lavish gifts that Vatican officials are accustomed to receiving from wealthy benefactors, friends, and fellow clerics. I'm Walter Ratliff.
Amazon's pandemic boom isn't showing signs of slowing down. The Seattle-based company said its first quarter profit more than tripled from a year ago, fueled by the growth of online shopping. It also posted revenue of more than $100 billion. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Hi, this is Jennifer Coolidge. The American Heart Association says the disco song Stayin' Alive is the near-perfect beat for hands-only CPR. If you see a teen or adult collapse from cardiac arrest, you only need 2 steps to help save a life. Call 911 and push hard and fast in the center of the chest to the beat of the song Stayin' Alive. Disco is back and it's saving lives. To learn more, go to heart.org/hands-only CPR.
nationally supported by the WellPoint Foundation.
Oh, you pressed the wrong button. Oh, residual.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Good to have you with us on this Thursday night. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel, we're coming to you from James Smith Realty here in Pawleys Island. Let me give you the number again for James Smith Realty. So when you make your plans for getting away from it all and you're coming down this way, you need a great place to stay. The number is 843-237-4246. But you know what? You better not wait. Better not wait, because they're going to be the properties are going to fill up, right? They will fill up. And you know what everybody's doing now that things are getting better and people are getting out. Everybody's coming this way. Everybody is coming to the beach. And if you delay, you don't move on it quickly enough, you won't get what you're looking for. So let Jimmy help you out, 843-237-4246. You don't have to ask directly for him, though he'd love to talk to you, I'm sure. He's got a great staff. And anybody on his staff can work with you and get you what you want. That's what you did, right, Chris? You worked with the folks here at James Smith Realty. Did you talk to the man himself or talk to somebody else?
I will take no credit for us being down there other than my parents took care of everything through their staff. And my mother was raving about how well they handled everything, especially, as you pointed out, Phil, if you want to get a rental property for a vacation this coming summer, whether it be in late May, early or throughout June, July, and August, don't wait any longer. I can attest to the fact that we look from, the middle of North Carolina on the coast all the way down to Florida, and very few rental properties were available. So we were very fortunate with the guys at James Smith Realty to find something that I think we'll enjoy the first week in June. So, yeah, take full advantage of this opportunity. I can't stress enough. Don't waste time.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, let's don't waste any more time. As Coach Monty Lee, Clemson baseball coach, joins me, and Chris and Pat, I'll pass along that Jimmy says, Monty, if you quit beating the Gamecocks, he'll cut you an even better deal on a place down here at Pawleys Island if you'll just let up and ease up.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. I'm sure it sounds like he may be a Gamecock fan, so I don't think he's probably going to cut a Clemson Tiger a deal. That's kind of how it typically works in our state, the rivalry. So.
This is true, but then again, he does have a lot of business with Clemson people. You need to come back one day and just look at all the memorabilia and get your picture thrown up on the wall here. He's got plenty of Clemson stuff. I see a bunch of Clemson footballs sitting over in the shelf. So, hey, man.
Well, good. He's a full opportunist, right?
There you go. Clemson money game.
Right.
Have you with us, and I know you feel better tonight than a week ago because you were going into that Wake Forest series and you needed to get some wins, and you got it done. Now you've had an entire week to kind of rest up and get healthier and get prepared for a really good Louisville team coming to your place this weekend.
Yeah, I think they're in the top 5 in most polls, and a lot of people think they're the most talented group and maybe the best team in our league. Certainly have played that way. And, we've got a tough test ahead of us. They've got a great club, and, we need to play our best baseball starting tomorrow night and see what happens.
Well, let's talk about your team coming off the weekend sweep of Wake Forest and how you feel now, how their attitude was this week, and what things did you focus on during the week with no midweek game to deal with?
Well, we focused on a few things. We actually had to give the guys 2 days off because of exams. We were in our exam week, so the guys – actually, I have several guys that have exams in the morning. So this week is tough on our guys, just because they have to obviously they have to focus on their academics and finish strong academically for the spring semester. So, what we did was we tried to fit some workouts in around our busy schedule. I mean, walk outside, my dogs bark at every person, squirrel, and dog that comes by. But anyhow, so we gave them Monday and Tuesday off, and then Wednesday we actually had an inter squad and threw a number of guys, 1 inning apiece. Played about 7 innings just to get some live work on the mound and some live at bats. Just to keep the guys in good rhythm. And then we had a really good practice today. And guys are fresh. They're ready to go. Got a chance to get Davis Sharp on the mound, which was awesome. He threw for the first time on Wednesday, faced 4 hitters, threw about 20 pitches and looked pretty good. So, there's a chance that we'll be able to use him probably in more of a relief role or a short stint this weekend. But it's always good to add a quality arm like Davis back to the mix. So, hopefully he'll be able to help us this weekend on the mound as well.
Very good. Yeah, you've left the third starter, the Sunday starter, open, but you don't see him stepping into that role. You see him more coming out of the bullpen if needed.
Yeah, I don't think he's in a position from a pitch count standpoint for us to start him. I think we'd be probably doing him a little bit of a disservice by starting him just because, he hasn't done it in a while. I could see us again trying to use him out of the pen. But, again, the reasoning behind that is we did last weekend good to where we leave Clark and Hoffman in the bullpen and use those 2 guys on matchup and score. And we actually used Hoffman to close the game out. And, Hoff has been pitching on Sundays for us, and we used him to close the game out on Friday. And because we did that, we had the doubleheader on Sunday. Clark was the more fresh of the 2, so he started the game 3, and then we used Hoffman out of the pen for a second time on the weekend, and it worked out pretty good. So a lot of TBA is dependent upon, if we need to use Clark out of the pen to win the game, we'll use Clark out of the pen to win the game, and then we would potentially start Hoffman. But it's really kind of one or the other is our mindset as far as, who we start on Sunday, depending on which one we use the first 2 games. But if we need to use both of those guys serious, then that's exactly what we'll do. And, there could be a scenario where Sharp could start that 3rd game if we use both those guys out. It would be a short start. I mean, it'd have to be like a 2-inning type start, and we'd have to mix and match and use a lot of guys out of the bullpen to make that happen.
Oh, it does. It does. So I heard your radio crew say it was a couple of weekends back talking about Matt Clark, that he's got something going on with his back to where you can't use him on back-to-back days. Is that kind of him?
Yeah. Got an issue for a majority of the season, which, we can use him, pretty much one time a weekend. Is there a scenario where he could be used twice? I mean, he could be used on a Friday and a Sunday, but it would have to be 1 inning on Friday, and he would have to feel pretty good to go on Sunday in relief. It's not right if we throw relief on a Friday that he could bounce back and be able to throw again on a Sunday. So, yeah, we have to really be aware of when we bring him into the game that be one time that we're going to be able to use him. So we try to pick our spot very carefully with him as far as when we use him.
Mm-hmm.
Monty Lee, Clemson head baseball coach, with us here on Sports Talk. Tigers getting ready for a big showdown series this weekend at home against Louisville. And, Coach, as part of that weekend sweep over Wake Forest, you recorded your 200th win as Clemson head coach. What did that milestone mean for you?
Said I've been here a little bit, I guess. I mean, not a lot, and I don't mean anything by that. I didn't know that it was number 200. I don't know how many overall wins I have. I honestly, guys, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to it. I think you guys can relate to this, as many coaches as you talk to. Look, when we win, it's a relief. and when we lose, it's pure misery. When you win a game, it's like, hey, I actually will enjoy my dinner tonight, and my wife will actually want to hang out with me, and my dogs will like me. So, I don't really look at it, but look, I have to just again the opportunity to be the head coach at Clemson. Been here for 6 years now. Time certainly has flown by. 100 just represents that I've been here for a little bit. Hope to continue doing what I'm doing and hope to be here for a long time.
All right, well, let's dig into the weekend. Louisville coming in playing some awfully good baseball, Coach, but you guys have had their number, at least of late, having won 5 of your last 7 against them. How do you continue that streak, and what is Dan McDonnell's club going to look like when they step on the field starting tomorrow?
Well, they're very good. They're at 7, which I believe is the best. They have a number of left-handed hitters that can really swing the bat. Got the best hitter in the country is going to be the top pick in the draft. So have a third baseman in Mcdonnell, who's going to be a top 2 round type guy. So they can really hit. Another thing that they do, they like the short game. They'll bunt for hits. They'll run. Dan McDonnell's always had teams that were very athletic and like, to keep their foot on the gas on the base. So they're very important for us to limit our leadoff guys getting on base. But also when guys do get on base, we got to do a good job of runners being quick to the plate, and our catchers got to do a good job of making accurate throws when they try to run on us. So, they're probably all pitching. Roger, their coach, is one of the best in the country. They recruit big physical power, and they're going to run 2 lefties out there and 2, and then a righty that are all very, very good. They like pitching, so we got to be on the inside, right-handed hitters, and bullpen hasn't been quite as electric as they've been in the past. They've given up some runs in the pen, so big key for us is what we do against our starters. We've got to force them to go to the bullpen, and if we can do that, we'll give ourselves a chance to win.
Go ahead, Phil.
No, go.
Okay, so they've got 2 guys hitting right around 400 on the season, Henry Davis and Trey Leonard. How do you deal with them?
Yeah. Deal with guys hitting 400. You better execute pitches. That's how you deal with guys that are hitting 400, and you better hope that they don't have a good weekend. I mean, I think a big key for that is when you're facing those kind of hitters, you just got to try to minimize what goes on around them. You want to try to hope that when Davis and Leonard come, they're doing a good job with the guys that are hitting in front of them and that they're not on base. Because, that's where the elite of the elite really hurts you, is if they have multiple runners on base, you're giving the best hitters the highest leverage at bats, and that's what you don't want to do. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. You just got to hope you make pitches and you get them out. But, the big key is that, look, I had a guy tell me one time the difference between a guy that doesn't get out of A ball and a guy that makes it to the big leagues is when he gets a pitch to hit, he don't miss it. And that's the truth. I mean, that is the truth. Elite hitters, they don't miss it when they get a good pitch to hit. So we got to make sure that, we're pitching to the corners, we keep the ball down and execute pitches against those guys.
All right, a couple more things about your team. We'll let you go. I theorized earlier this week that your team you had so many young guys. So now you're at that stage where the young guys have kind of grown up and matured. You're getting healthier. You got you got Sharp back. You've got Hall back. Hackenberg is back. And I foresee a team that's got a chance here with all the pieces kind of coming together now to make a run here over the last part of the regular season and be a serious problem come ACC tournament time.
Well, the big key for us is we just talked about they've got to be the leaders of this thing. They've got to be the driving force of this thing. And actually, it's funny, Phil, that you say that. We actually talked about that after practice today, that those guys that are going to be recognized on Senior Day on Sunday, and then some of those older guys like a Hackenberg and a Meredith and a Teodosio and a Hall and, all those guys, those older guys, they got to be the driving force when it comes to the positive energy and the enthusiasm, and they've got to be the ones that are pushing the envelope, down the stretch here, because we need our older guys to lead us, but to also be at their best if we're going to be able to make a run. So you're right. We certainly have the ability to do it. Look, we got Mac Anglin going on Friday. He's pretty dang good. We've got Askew, who's pretty dang good. We can run a Matt Clark on a Sunday if we hadn't used him out of the pen. His career numbers are outstanding. We've got some veterans that can do some good things for us on the mound and at the plate and on defense. We just got to put all those pieces together and get it going in the right direction, and we certainly are capable of doing that.
All right, last thing. At this point, there's a lot more to go, but how would you grade Caden Griez's freshman season to this point?
Well, I would say A-. I would say it would be an A+ if we were able to use him, and part of that is just our decisions. He's been playing so much base. Sharp was hurt that it was very difficult for us to pitch him. I think he's one of the best hitters in the country. I think the guy's got a chance to play the game for a long time with the bat in his hands. We need to be able to use him on the mound a little bit more than we have been. Trying to get both is very difficult as a true freshman, but I think he's capable of doing big things on the mound as well. So I would say he's been better than I would have expected at the plate from what I saw in the fall. And I say that as a testament to how hard he's worked and how good a job he's done at developing over the course of the year as a hitter. But there's a lot to like about this guy on the mound too, and we need to find ways to use him on the mound. Using him in that DH role allows us to do that a little bit more, and we certainly need to do that. But he's a special chance for a long time.
Yeah, and how you feel about having the extra fans coming in for this weekend now as they continue to let more people into the stadium?
I think the great thing about that is it gives us a chance to have a home field advantage, and it also gives us a chance to, hopefully start to feel like we're getting a little bit more back to normal. I think that's going to be a great thing. It's been so long, since we've been able to have full capacity in the stands, and it's certainly going to feel nice to be able to look up there and see crowds of people coming into the stadium to watch our guys play.
Well, we thank you as always for the visit, and good luck this weekend. Should be a great series between Clemson and Louisville, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks as always for having me on.
Thank you. Good talking to you. Monty Lee, Clemson baseball coach. I always appreciate him coming on with us here on Sports Talk. No question about this series for them. Louisville ranked as high as number 5, Chris. Very talented team, and they've just had a great run. Louisville has. They have had a great run as a baseball program over the last 10 years or so. They have kept it going at a very high level, and Dan Mcdonnell is a guy that people are. They've tried to pry him away from Louisville. Mm-hmm. Other programs have tried to pry him away from Louisville, and he's just carried on. What they started there. He his first year there was 2007. He won 47 games in his first year, and since then he's never won fewer in a full season than 40. No, I'm sorry. He had one season of 32 wins. Outside of that, nothing fewer than 41 wins. So he's just had a great program going there. They were 13-4 last year when the season ended, and they're 23-11 this year, 14-6. He has won 641 games and lost 255 in his years at Louisville. And to think he was a Citadel guy back in the day, Citadel grad, one-time assistant at the Citadel, and he's gone on to do some great things. He's got a really good coaching staff. Roger Williams is a guy whose name has come up in coaching searches before. Got a former Coastal Carolina player on his staff, Adam Vrabel.
Yep.
Remember Adam?
That name I do. I don't remember seeing him play.
Yeah. 2007 he was at Coastal. So it's another good Louisville team, good pitching, and a lot. They always have offense on this on his teams, and their team batting average is 305. So they got a lot of offense again this year.
Well, it helps when Henry Davis is batting 398 and Trey Leonard is hitting 394, and those two guys have combined for 12 home runs and 60 RBIs almost this season. Phil, it's remarkable that you're this late in the year and you still have two guys almost hitting at 400 in the same lineup. I don't know how in the world, and Coach joked about that. You just can't make a mistake against these guys, but how do you get them out? I think that's going to be the key for the Clemson pitching staff all weekend long, making sure that the guys in front of Davis and Leonard aren't on base, and when they have an opportunity to make a big play, you've got to figure out a way to get those guys out because they have just hammered the baseball all season.
Yeah, 299 team batting average, but AC it's 300. They don't hit a ton of power. They've got on the year let's see here. On the year they've got 41 home runs, but they can steal bases 89 stolen bases and call 20 times. So they will run on you. And Levi, their poorest hitter of their regulars, 221. He is their base 23-25. So when he gets on base, you walk him by giving him. He's going to go get second base in all likelihood. So this should be a really good series. And Monty has said repeatedly how good he feels about it. It sounds like they have a good plan for that Sunday situation. He can run out there.
Well, a little bit different than South Carolina. They're sort of cemented at their three-man weekend rotation. And, heck, what we've seen out of Mahoney the past couple of midweek starts, they're probably set at number 4 in the rotation as well. But Clemson's piecemealing it together, and their pitching staff, especially on the front end. And Askew pitched probably his worst game of the season against Miami a couple of weeks ago. But otherwise, he's been lights out as well. So the one thing to keep in mind this weekend, if you're a Tigers fan, one thing that might give you hope, Louisville is a terrible fielding team. They're 11th in the ACC in terms of team fielding percentage. So what you've got to do is put the ball in play against these guys, and maybe they'll give you a few extra outs that the normal teams won't. I mean, you look at Clemson's fielding percentage, not a whole lot better at 968, but still Louisville towards the bottom in terms of team fielding percentage in the ACC. So maybe the Cardinals help the Tigers out a couple of times in key situations if the Clemson batters can put the ball in play.
Yeah, 43 errors. So not having every game. Sometimes you got to on your stat sheet, but they're not meaningful errors.
Sure.
You get ruled as an error on something, maybe a ball hit and the official scorer felt you should have made the play and it didn't lead to anything. But I hear what you're saying, any fielding percentage under 970 can be worrisome, but they make up for it with their offense and their good pitching. So let's talk about happening in baseball. The Braves are wrapping the series, and they are scoreless in the top of the first. And in the SEC, it's Auburn and Georgia, and they are scoreless in the bottom of the second. Kentucky and Tennessee will be getting underway in just a little bit. Coming up after the break, let's look at this, delving into some foreign ground here. I don't know that we've ever done an interview with a true horse trainer, Kentucky level horse trainer. We got that coming up after and looking forward to it. The name of the horse is Hot Rod Derby, and Doug O'Neill is and he's got his horse in the Derby on Saturday afternoon, early Saturday evening, and he's going to be a big part of our conversation here is going to be about his involvement with this walk-on scholarship endowment at South Carolina, his relationship with Stephen Panis, and his efforts to help get the word out about that through his area, which is horse racing. And Stephen Panis is involved with horse racing as well on a national level. And so, Doug O'Neill is part of that. And so we're going to talk with him about that, but also about who to look for. Maybe his horse is the guy. Have you heard much about this horse, Chris, in your preparation for the Derby?
I have not heard much about Hot Rod Charlie. I do know that Doug O'Neill.
Hot Rod Derby.
Hot Rod Charlie. Almost positive.
Oh, I thought it was. Okay, go ahead.
That's as I know. No. What I was going to say is, if I'm not mistaken, Doug O'Neill has actually won 2 Kentucky Derbies as a trainer. He's going for his 3rd coming up on Saturday.
Okay, we'll talk with him coming up after the break.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight. Overnight, cloudy sky. 68. Tomorrow, a mix of sunshine and clouds for you with a high temperature. Weekend, wonderful weather. Saturday, we see a high of 79, plentiful sunshine, while on Sunday, we're up to 85 as our high with a mix of sun and clouds. I'm Kevin Cohen with your On Point local weather.
What can I possibly do to make this stressful time a little better? Here's one thing I found. It's a small thing, a simple thing, a remarkable thing. Smile. You can share a smile from more than 6 feet apart. You can share it socially with the whole world. In fact, right now, I'm smiling at you. And I hope you're smiling back, because smiling is in you. From PassItOn.com.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The family and representatives of black men killed by police have met at the White House with senators and Biden administration officials and say they have left feeling optimistic. They do believe police reform could be approved by May 25th, the anniversary of the killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis. The participating lawmakers were Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, Democratic Senator Cory Booker, Republican Senator Tim Scott, and Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. Civil rights lawyer Ben Crump says, quote, they said that they are going to do everything in their power to make sure we have a meaningful bill that we can put on President Biden's desk, unquote. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 239 points. The Nasdaq rose 31. The S&P 500 advanced 28. Oil up $1.15 to close at $65.01 a barrel. This is SRN News.
Spring is more than pollen. It also means it's termite season. Palmetto Exterminators offers a free inspection at your home to determine any possible issues. Palmetto Exterminators offers the best termite agreement anywhere, but they do so much more. They offer complete pest control, mosquito control, wildlife trapping and removal, and nobody, I mean nobody, can offer you more peace of mind at your home or business. Now, how do I know that? Well, I never tell you to use someone like Palmetto Exterminators unless I practice what I preach. I've been a customer for 19 years. They are wonderful. My guy, Ron and his team over at Palmetto Exterminators, they've looked after my family forever. We have no pest control issues whatsoever. But if we did, all it takes is one phone call, and Palmetto Exterminators will fix it. It's pretty simple. Call Palmetto Exterminators and cross pest control right off your concern. Online, it's palmettoexterminators.net. Give my guy Ron a call, 254-53.
I'm home. Is the AC turned on? It's hot.
I've got bad news.
What?
Our AC died.
You're kidding me.
No, but there's a bright side. Our contractor says Dominion Energy offers rebates up to $500 if we upgrade to Energy Star qualified equipment.
That's nice, but almost sounds too good to be true.
No, I checked it out. See for yourself at DominionEnergySC.com.
Where?
DominionEnergySC.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Hi, this is Marcia Kleiman.
And I'm Karen Pickard. We're your hosts for The Positive Point on Aging.
We'll talk about aging gracefully and senior care every Tuesday morning from 8:30 to 9 o'clock a.m.
Join us right here on The Point for The Positive Point on Aging.
Brought to you by Oakley Village of Lexington.
Hello, Midlands. It's Jay here with The Melting Pot. Here's a few questions we get when people call us. Do we serve only chocolate? No, we serve 4 courses, but you can get just chocolate or 4 courses of chocolate. No, you don't have to sit at a big table with strangers around you, but you can sit at a big table with friends around you. You just need to bring the friends with you. We also specialize in having lots of private booths with real walls between them, so you won't feel like a fish in a plexiglass tank. Come and see us at The Melting Pot, 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard.
Hey Tiger fans, this is head coach Dabo Sweeney, and I'm excited to let you know it is time to reserve your 2021 Clemson football season tickets and come back home to Clemson. For details and more information, please visit ClemsonTigers.com/football tickets. The season ticket request deadline is April 30th, So be sure and act soon so you can see our Tigers in the Valley this fall. Come back home to Clemson and go Tigers.
Someone will be right with you.
All right, we're back, everybody, here on Sports Talk Media Network. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. Yes, it is Hot Rod Charlie is the name of the horse. Thank you, Chris. The email I had just said Hot Rod Derby. Perhaps it was cutting off the name Charlie, just referring to the Derby. But Hot Rod Charlie is the name of the horse that Doug O'Neill trains. Doug O'Neill, a two-time winner of the Kentucky Derby. And Hot Rod Charlie coming off a win in the Louisiana Derby. See, I've done my homework here, Chris.
I'm impressed, Phil. As a matter of fact, he guided Nyquist to a victory at the Kentucky Derby. I don't remember him for whatever reason, but I do remember his other Derby winner, and that was I'll Have Another. I'm not sure if it's because of the name of the horse that I remember it so vividly or not, but yeah, he's done a nice job. And I think some of the odds makers and some of the things that Hot Rod Charlie has done, not just the local tie that we have with South Carolina here, but this horse, I think, actually has a chance to win on Saturday.
It sounds that way. I was just reading up on it as well, and he sounds like a horse, according to what Doug O'Neill told some reporters, who can break from the gate and set the pace early on. And then you just have to wonder if he can hang on to the pace and keep the lead, or is he going to be a horse that gets off to a good lead and then falls off the pace and gets passed on the backstretch or whatever. So we are trying to connect with Doug right now, so we hope to get that to you in just a moment. So while we're doing that, why don't we go to my interview with Chris Buescher? We go from one form of racing, one with legs, to one with wheels, okay? NASCAR this weekend is in Kansas after being in Talladega last weekend, the Hold Your Breath 500 at Talladega, and now you kind of have the Exhale 500 or whatever it is in Kansas before you go back to Hold Your Breath and hold on to your fenders at Darlington on Mother's Day weekend. I had a chance to talk with Chris Buescher, the driver of the number 17 machine, as we like to say, in NASCAR Cup Series racing, and we pick it up with my opening question.
As a driver coming out of Talladega, what's it like a few days after that race is behind you and you finished and your car was pretty much intact, I think, but there's a lot of wrecking going on around you. As you look back at a day at Talladega a few days later, how do you feel about things?
Still bummed, I think, is the main thing. We did a good job putting ourselves in position to get stage points. We were very close to the two larger wrecks. We were fortunate to stay out of them and keep our Fast on Mustang clean. And at the end of the day, we were in a good spot to make a run at the win there, or at least at the front row. And there's really no telling how it would have played out if it had worked perfect. But we're getting pushed, and it's really all you can ask for. And just got pushed and got hooked a little bit, and ended up out of the gas trying to save it and lost our momentum. So it's kind of a bummer there. I mean, the way I look at it, we've had 6 speedway races with Roush Fenway now and myself on the Cup side. 5 of them we've had speed in our race cars, and we have been in position to have a shot at winning the race. Now, it hasn't played out all the right ways yet, but the way I see it, if we keep doing the right things and we keep finding ourselves in the right spot going into that final corner, we're going to figure out how to get out of the final corner down that final straightaway and be able to wrap the win up.
Well, this happened for you before, of course. You've got a win in your career, and you've got 6 top 5 finishes. One thing that kind of stands out to me, though, is you finish races for the most part. You find a way to be there at the end. Is that a point of pride for you at this young stage of your career?
Yeah, it is. And probably for a couple different reasons. I mean, when you look at points racing is something that I did not grow up doing much of. We race to win, and whatever happened. Now with that, I also worked on my own race cars all the way up until actually through a lot of my Xfinity days at Roush Fenway. I still worked in the shop, so I had and still do. I have an appreciation for what goes into building our race cars, what's underneath them, the time that's put in by the people, the financial side of it, and how expensive it is for our teams to build them. For our sponsors to ultimately get all of the race in and be able to finish these things and have a shot to win them. At the end of the day, if you're knocked out 20 laps into a race, you have 0 shot of winning.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where, I do pride myself on being able to finish these things and finish them clean and still being able to race hard. So it is something that's been important to me, just really from mostly working on my own stuff growing up.
Well, no chance to win if you're not going to win. It's sort of like that putt. Putt's never going to go in if you don't get it to the hole. Want to jump ahead to Darlington, which is coming up weekend after next. And, of course, that's our pride and joy here in South Carolina. And your thoughts about returning to Darlington and having raced 3 times last year as a young guy. How does that help you prepare for the race this time around, having gotten some seat time, a lot of seat time on the track last year?
Yeah, Darlington is just behind Bristol as my favorite racetrack. So you will never hear me complain about coming to Darlington multiple times this season. I think it's such a cool racetrack. There's so much history there. It's so unique in the design and shape of it. I'm excited to get back. I know we're running a different package this time around, so we'll have more power and less downforce. So that'll be a pretty big change up from last year. So some of our notes in our haptics that we worked on will carry over, but some of it won't. And so we will have a bit of a learning experience again heading back down there. But again, it's one of the places that I just love to go to. And I think when you like a place, it really just helps. It helps it be smoother. It helps it go better. It makes you better at that specific race. So that's got me really looking forward to that first Darlington race this year, and looking as an opportunity for us to go capture a win.
Absolutely. You finished 12th back in 1913 in 2018. So you have a feel for the place. You kind of know how to stay on the track, and you finish those races. You have finished every race you've run at Darlington with the car running. So you've avoided the major issues there. What is it that you like about the place? What is it that has given you that feel?
I think my second Xfinity race, I was kind of thrown into it from another driver sickness, and so I went to Richmond, and then I went to Darlington. And I remember showing up at that place, and everybody from the team, all the teammates, everybody saying, all right, we just need to be really easy in practice. We got to take care of this thing. Please be conservative. I remember going out there, and it didn't take but 3 or 4 laps. You're like, man, this place is fun. And you're on the throttle, pushing the limits right up against the fence. And we actually had a lot of speed in it. We were really quick, especially for my second time in an Xfinity car, and I liked it. I just something clicked, and it's really stayed with me since. So it's always neat to go right up to the fence, try and wrap that wall. I know tire rubs are more prominent now than I think they used to be, and so it is a little bit tougher to get a stripe and come out completely okay. Seems like they always seem to find their way to vendors find their way to a tire, but it's still a lot of fun to get just that close and be able to do it for such a long period of time. and have the control and the knowledge and just the ability to keep it out of the fence for that long and to keep speed up in the process.
All right, last thing, we'll let you go. You're sitting 16th in points right now, which is right on the cutoff line. Of course, it's still early, a long way to go. 8 different winners already. Your thoughts about the fact there have been so many different winners and people are always waiting for the new guy, and how close you think you are to being that next new guy this season?
We're in the ballpark for sure, and it's been a wild season. A lot of new winners. It's making the point side of things tough to race your way into the playoffs purely on points, and so I think we see that as we need to win. That's what needs to happen, and that's going to be the best way for us to get there. It is early, but it does matter. It is that time that we need to be taking some chances to get a race win here. We're in the we're in the ballpark, so haven't gone to the racetrack and just been an absolute dominant car yet. We've been really close. Homestead, beginning of the year, we showed up and we were awesome for the majority of the race, and weren't able to have the same speed at the nighttime. I think we're seeing at some of these worn-out racetracks, Atlanta, Homestead. We actually have Darlington circled as one that the surface is very similar. That seems to be where we've hit on all 8 the best this season so far, and so like I said, we have Darlington not only being a place that I love to go to, but being circled as a huge opportunity for our team this season.
Okay, Chris Busher here on Sports Talk. Christopher Bell, who was with us last year going into Darlington, we gave him the Sports Talk kiss. He's gone on to have a nice career in his young years, and it's all because of us. So it looks like when I leave here, Chris, I'm going to go sit down in front of a television and I'm going to watch every version of the movie Saw that has been. I cannot believe what you just sent me. I refuse to believe it, and boy, I hope it's not true.
Well, according to Mark Schlereth, the Broncos are not going to take a quarterback tonight in the NFL draft. They pick 9th. They actually pick right after the Carolina Panthers do, because according to Schlereth, they are close to trading for Phil's boy, Aaron Rodgers, per his sources saying, quotes, "It's as close to a done deal as it can be."
Wow. Well, I'm sure his sources are Broncos sources. He's former Broncos star, and man, I hope they're wrong. I mean, the Packers, they put out a statement today. Gutekunst, their GM, put out a statement. Is it Gutekunst, their GM? Put out a statement and said, Aaron Rodgers is going to be our quarterback for a lot of years, and we're just getting ready to make a run at the Super Bowl again, It's all about, apparently Rodgers wants not a restructured contract, or he wants an extension, and they've been working on an extension. His agent flew into Green Bay to work with them on that, and everybody just needs to chill. Everybody just needs to chill around Green Bay and around. Aaron needs to go, hug his fiance, practice his Jeopardy questions, and forget about all this stuff.
And if I'm not mistaken, he would be just the 3rd reigning NFL MVP to not return to his team, in which he won the MVP the season before. The other 2, including Jim Brown, retired after winning the Most Valuable Player award. So this,
what is it about Denver that attracts? Of course, John Elway went out there. He didn't want to go to Baltimore, so he went out there and had a great career. Peyton Manning, of course, went out there for a couple of years. There's nothing he can find in Denver that he has in Green Bay. He's walking away from a Super Bowl team to go to a non-contender, basically. Don't make any sense to me. Hope it doesn't happen. It's really hurt. And we'll be back after the break.
The future future of golf is waiting for you at the Players Club. Rain, shine, or after dark, you can enjoy the game of golf anytime at Columbia's Indoor Country Club. The Players Club delivers the most realistic golf experience and offers more than 90 championship courses. Play or practice with the same state-of-the-art full-swing simulators used by Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth. Visit maincoursesc.com to book a bay and become a player today at the Players Club, part of the Main Course, 1626 Main Street in Columbia.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I love sports, and I've helped people for over 30 years. Contact me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com when the insurance company won't pay your claim or you have complicated issues. Some other business causes your business to lose money, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When you lose a relative and find out you got cut out of a will or don't get what was promised. When you have serious injury, like from a wreck or mishap or on the job, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
If you're looking for a great weekend escape, make for Santee, South Carolina and Clark's Inn and Restaurant. Santee provides the perfect backdrop for recreation and adventure. Clark's provides the perfect backdrop for relaxation. Just minutes from Santee Cooper Lakes and 3 championship golf courses, Clark's Inn and Restaurant is a short drive from wherever you are in the Palmetto State. Since 1946, the Clark's hospitality has been making Santee easy to find, but hard to leave. Visit clarksinandrestaurant.com today.
You're listening to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. We're back in a moment.
Enjoy life to the fullest with a lot of flavor. When it comes to eating peanuts, the research is clear. Peanuts improve your health. Peanuts, a snack that gives back. Crack some open today for a nutritious, sustainable, and earth-friendly treat. Be sure to stop by your local grocery store produce section to pick up a bag of roasted in-shell peanuts. Brought to you by the South Carolina Peanut Board. Visit aboutpeanuts.com for delicious peanut-based recipes.
Hey, folks, mortgage rates have dipped to their lowest levels in recent history, and with home values up in many areas, now may be the perfect time to refinance your home. Whether you're looking to lower your monthly payments, free up cash for home improvements, or just pay off your home faster, a quick call to the one and only Stuart Wingo of Ameris Bank could save you money. If you're looking for competitive rates and exceptional service, call Stuart Wingo, 803-319-1777. That's 803-319-1777. You will save money just like I have so many times over the years. You can also visit him, amerisbank.com/Stuart Wingo. Stuart Wingo, the man with the plan for all your mortgage needs.
The lady in black doesn't age. She just gets tougher. And Throwback Weekend is when she likes to remind all the friends, families, drivers, and dreamers just how they got here. Business up front and parties in the back. Over 70 years of history held together with one famous black stripe. Too tough to tame? I guess you'll have to find out. Darlington Throwback Weekend, May 7th through 9th. Get your tickets at darlingtonraceway.com.
South Carolina, just right.
No air balls, no bricks, nothing but net with Founders Federal Credit Union. Our full-service line of financial products gives you all the tools you need for financial success. And you'll love being with us as much as we love serving you. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 locations to see if you qualify for membership with Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax with Founders. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Life, it has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar amount. Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work come first. Visit playresponsiblysc.com.
Yeah, not feeling so good after hearing that news. Not feeling so good. Hoping that's not going to happen. Hoping against hope. I don't want to go to some rookie quarterback. He'll be a rookie. He didn't play any last year. The Packers from Denver Now, who was Denver's quarterback last year?
It was Drew Lock for a little bit, the player, but Teddy Bridgewater's there now, so my guess is he's headed back to the NFC North. I hope he did back. Trey,
do not do that to me, please. Well, of course, I like Teddy Bridgewater, but no, don't do that to me, please. Hey, for the week. Once the NIL laws are in place, of course, they've approved them in South Carolina now by the legislature. The governor has to sign it. I haven't heard anything today that he signed it. And I saw we're down in Florida, the governor there, there must have been something in their legislation that wasn't, he wants to start right away. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I'm wrong about that. I saw a tweet by somebody urging the governor to go ahead and sign and get it started right away. That's what it was.
Phil, I can help a little bit with that and sorry to interject there. For the context of that, today at the last minute before a vote was about to take place on a charter schools bill that was related kind of offhand with this, there was a motion for an amendment that they kind of snuck in to revise that name, image, and likeness effective date. And all they did, multiple players, including Mackenzie Milton, the projected starter for Florida State, former of Central Florida, all they did was cross out that it was supposed to go into effect July 1st, 2021, and they rewrote 2022. That then passed through the House today. It still would have to be signed in by the governor to actually go into effect.
Okay. So, question, you're a business owner. Would you pay your favorite college athlete? How much would you pay to promote your business? And 54% of the voters, they're just not of the NIL, not going to get involved. 27% say they'd pay up to $25,000. 10.5% say they would pay $50,000 or more. 8.3% said between $25,000 and $50,000. So this is something we're going to have to follow and deal with here, Chris, as time marches on, because it's coming. And, I don't know this will be the end of it to satisfy the people who want to see college athletes just be bona fide professionals, just like your NFL folks.
Well, and Phil, Florida Senator Travis Hudson brought up he's the first guy I've actually seen mention this, and part of the reason they bumped it back a year, he said, quote, "We did not want our student athletes, if this law went into effect, to start profiting off and lose scholarships, because doesn't the NCAA have to relinquish that before this can go into effect?" I mean, if Governor McMaster signed a bill tomorrow, South Carolina and Clemson athletes could not take advantage of this without jeopardizing their scholarships, right? Because it would still be against NCAA rules.
That's right. The NCAA would have to restructure their deal. And, I mean, do they stay on scholarship? What does that mean? Do you have to pay for your own way now? How's that going to work? So many questions that need to be answered. Winthrop today announced its assistant coaching staff for new head basketball coach Mark Prosser. Director of basketball operations is Mitchell Hill. Assistant coach Brett Ferguson, assistant coach Tony Rack, and a well-recognized name in South Carolina, Ben Betts, is joining the staff at Winthrop. So, obviously, he is a very popular name around the state of South Carolina. He's done a great job wherever he has been a coach. NCAA COVID-19 Medical Advisory Group recommended the following considerations: collegiate sport and upcoming championships. The CDC considers individuals to be fully vaccinated if they have received their single-dose vaccine or second of 2 doses 2 or more weeks ago. As far as a quarantine, fully vaccinated athletes and other Tier 1 individuals with no symptoms do not need to quarantine, be restricted from work, or get tested after exposure to someone with a suspected or confirmed case of COVID-19. As for testing, fully vaccinated athletes and other Tier 1 individuals with no COVID-like symptoms may be exempt from routine testing. And they say the NCAA will continue its policy of universal masking and physical distancing at championships, with the exception of the athletes and officials during competition or practice. All right. It's good to hear from the NCAA on something it really has no control over. And that's typical of the NCAA. They have no control over anything. The Braves are down to the Cubs. Cubs scored 2 in the top of the first. Chris Bryant with the hit there. And so the Cubs are up 2-0. And in collegiate baseball, we've got no score between Auburn and Georgia, top of the fifth. Kentucky up on Tennessee, 3-0, top of the second. Thanks to James Realty for taking great care of us. And Pat and Chris and Matt will take great care of you tomorrow night. We'll see who that quarterback picks. And they'll see you then. Have a great night.
Local in the morning, afternoon, and evening. Columbia's local talk radio experience. 107 The Point. Make The Point Radio.